A warm welcome to this, the second video, decoding the speech that Rahul Gandhi, as the leader of the opposition, made in the Parliament of India, Lok Sabha, yesterday. I'm very delighted to note that the first of these video series has been so enthusiastically, I would say deliriously welcomed by such a large number of viewers, far beyond the membership of this YouTube fellowship. And the extent of goodwill, admiration that Rahul Gandhi commands today, which has taken a significant leap forward after his maiden speech as a leader of the opposition, is truly astonishing. That a person who has had to go through the vilification, the calumny, and the obloquy that Sri Rahul Gandhi has had to over nearly a decade and a half, to come out of it unscathed, nay, more than unscathed, and to be able to become the darling of the masses, is an extraordinary feat, unmatched by anyone, including Srimati Indira Gandhi in our living history. Well, I don't want to do, I don't want to say anything more on that line. What I propose to do in this video is to introduce 2 or 3 further thoughts which are necessary to reckon before we go into an analysis of the actual body of thought that comprised his speech yesterday. And I do so because of my conviction that being clear about this background as well as generic material will enhance the enjoyment of anyone who is unbiased and who is open to the good things of life. So the first thing I want to point out, and I sincerely hope that those in the BJP camp would see the sense in what I am saying and would try and benefit from these insights for their own sake. The very first point I want to make here is that even as I express my sympathy for Sri Om Birla, the Honorable Speaker of our Lok Sabha, I have to point out that Sri Om Birla contributed to his embarrassment and his bewilderment. How did he do so? He did so by his quite unprovoked and I would say uncalled for performance on the opening day of the Parliament, where he suddenly, without any context or occasion, broke into a very surprising fit of memory resurrection and recalled the emergency days and put up a performance which left a very bad taste in the mouth of everyone. And how does that matter? It matters because having undertaken that kind of a performance, or by virtue of having done so, Sri Om Birla lost his moral authority so completely that it told on him as he tried to take the situation or bring the situation under control yesterday. If Sri Om Birla had retained his moral authority and therefore the foundation for his legislative authority as the foremost presiding officer of the Lok Sabha, he would have been able to control the proceedings a lot better. But since he had squandered it by his anti-emergency tirade, and it would have been all right if there was an occasion for it. When you do something quite out of the context, you cut a sorry figure, and you cut a sorry figure even in the midst of your own camp followers, leave alone the neutral observers nationwide. And Sri Om Birla knew only too well yesterday, if anyone else was in any doubt, he was in no doubt at all that what he did was wrong, and that by doing so, he squandered his moral authority and therefore the right to control the House. And that was so palpable, so evident in the way the whole situation panned out. And Sri Om Birla, who otherwise is so effective in controlling the Lok Sabha and was so in the 17th Lok Sabha, suddenly found himself in the middle of nowhere. And I see it fundamentally as a moral collapse and not as a matter of the great vehemence of Rahul's speech or his self-confidence. Not that either of these is in doubt. So the first thing I want to emphasize, and I do so because if this is understood right, this can have a beneficial impact on our public life, and in particular, how the proceedings of the parliament are guided and conducted. So let's be very clear, Sri Om Birla, the Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha, did contribute to his discomfiture, his utter loss of control, as was witnessed by the whole of the nation yesterday. That's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is something similar to this. Quite unfortunately, and quite foolishly, I must say, the BJP, to a lesser extent, aided by the passive support of the NDA camp. I don't think the members of parliament belonging to the constituent parties of NDA were articulate or vociferous yesterday. They sat a mute witness to how the speech of Rahul Gandhi riled and rifled the members of the principal member of the NDA coalition. Now, the BJP, by overreacting or unwisely reacting to Rahul Gandhi's speech, practically every moment that he was speaking, unfortunately, very foolishly, reinforced the effect of Sri Rahul Gandhi's speech. Now, in order to understand this, consider a different scenario. Rahul Gandhi is speaking and he is saying exactly the same words, using the same ideas, the same strategies. And the BJP camp observes an attitude of total indifference, apathy. Then what happens? The total effect of Rahul Gandhi's speech would have been less than 50% of what it was yesterday. It was the knee-jerk overreaction of BJP, their accustomed ways of shouting down the opposition, which has now become second nature to the members of this party, their overconfidence, which suddenly got a rude jolt, which made them behave not rationally or sensibly, but in a state of bewilderment and in an irrational way, by reacting and overreacting. They created the impression that whatever Rahul Gandhi was saying was the ultimate blow that the party could have been dealt. And in particular, the leader of the party, Sri Narendra Modi ji. I think the BJP needs to learn a big lesson from this. They have to sit up and take note of the fact that they're utterly wrong in reposing their total faith in violence. And very, very cleverly, shrewdly, Rahul Gandhi put the spotlight on the party's proclivity to violence. Now, the violence that was on display yesterday was turned against a speech made by the leader of the opposition, and by doing so, they created the impression that this young man was saying something of absolute significance, epochal, historic significance. Because the effect or the power of something is best measured by the impact it has on others. Suppose I say something which I consider to be of deadly effect. Suppose I say something of that kind and it leaves you totally unmoved. Then it has no effect. So, on the other hand, if you react and if you shout back at me, if you call me 10 names, or if you slap me on my face, then you are saying, you are testifying in unmistakable terms that every word that I said is absolutely terrible, powerful, something that you cannot but react to. So, what was the spectacle that the nation witnessed yesterday? Here was a young man speaking. And there is the entire body of the BJP members of parliament, every man to his feet, shouting, protesting, somebody holding up the rule book, somebody making points of order, some complete disturbance, complete disquietude. I can't imagine a party as powerful as the BJP getting so rattled and so visibly rattled by a single speech. Now, this is something that every Indian will find so hard to believe, and based on that evidence, they will come to the conclusion that the speech of Sri Rahul Gandhi was the greatest speech ever made in human history. If millions and millions of Indians come to that conclusion, BJP will have only themselves to blame because they created the semblance of that importance, that dramatic effect, by the unwise and irrational way in which they reacted, not once, twice, they reacted from start to finish, and even cheap tricks were resorted to, like turning the camera away from Rahul Gandhi, sometimes cutting off the microphone. These are all cheap tactics. We are living in the 21st century, for God's sake. People know what is what. They don't appreciate these things. They simply read it as a concession and a confession on the part of BJP that they just don't know how to handle this young man, Rahul Gandhi. And as I said in the previous unit, how do you solve a problem like Rahul Gandhi? This is the issue. And I think an exaggerated impression of the deadly effect of Rahul's speech was created unwittingly, foolishly by the BJP camp. And I hope they'll be wiser in the days ahead. The third point I want to make before I launch into an analysis of the actual substance or the ingredients of his remarkable speech is that Rahul's overall presentation was guided by one overarching consideration. I don't know if my viewers have noticed it. Presumably, Rahul was speaking in response to the speech of the Honorable President of India addressing the joint sitting of the two houses of the Parliament. That is the ostensible context. But the real purpose was to attack and dispel the Modi magic. Please note, Rahul's effort from start to finish, for as long as his speech lasted, had one overarching shaping purpose, and that was to attack and dispel the Modi magic. How did he do that? It's very interesting to notice. First of all, he projected, I would say he caricatured Modi as not a seller of dreams, but a seller of fears. As an agent that infects India, all sections of life, people in all walks of life, including, he says, members of the BJP party. आपको भी डराते हैं. Here is a gentleman who has only one contribution to make. That is, according to Rahul Gandhi, that's not what I am saying. It's what Rahul said. Here is a gentleman whose only contribution to national life is fear, fear, fear. डराते हैं, सबको डराते हैं. Now, that's a very serious and very calculated allegation to make. Now, he gives to this allegation a religious twist. That's where the cleverness lies. Why? Because BJP is a party that has built up its political capital by mixing religion with politics. Remove religion from BJP's politics and it will just sink like a house of cards. It will just collapse. So, now, having caricatured Sri Narendra Modi as a source from which this infection of fear is spreading right through the country, stifling and suffocating the life of the nation, Rahul then takes a very smooth, calculated step forward into religion and says the central message of Hinduism is Daro Mat, Daro Mat. And then he takes the image of Lord Shiva, the Abhaya Mudra, and I'll come to that as I analyze the speech more and more. The Abhaya Mudra, the mudra or the sign that breaks the spell of fear. See, look at the picture. Here is one of the supreme deities in the Hindu pantheon, among Hindu gods, extending the blessing of fearlessness on humanity. Abhaya Mudra, do not fear. And here is a political leader who, in the name of Hinduism, has only one contribution to make, and that is stifling the nation with fear, choking the nation with fear. Do you see the power of this allegation? Do you see the cleverness of it? It's mighty, it's potent. This is the reason, I believe, the central reason why the BJP was shell-shocked and completely befuddled, did not know what to do about it. So, from fear, Modi as an agent of fear, to Hinduism as a religion that's out to break the spell of fear, and therefore Rahul theoretically creates a tension and incompatibility between Modi and Hinduism, the spirit of Hinduism, and exposes Modi's claim to have monopoly over Hinduism, which then he reinforces by saying Modi सारे हिंदू नहीं हैं, Modi Hinduism नहीं है, that kind of thing. The Modi is not equal to the whole of the Hindu community. There are Hindus who think very differently from him. There are Hindus who are spiritually sensitive enough to realize that this the Modi magic goes against the spirit of Hinduism, and that in the long run is a threat to the integrity, the spiritual integrity of Hinduism. What an amazing point to make. He doesn't stop there. But more of that I'll include in the next video where I analyze the text properly. And then the last blow, the death blow to the Modi magic is Ayodhya. The way Rahul Gandhi introduced Ayodhya. And look at the visual image. He made sure the man, the candidate from the Samajwadi Party, his name is Avadhesh Prasad, who was successful from the Ayodhya constituency, defeating the BJP candidate. Not long after Ram Temple was inaugurated with such a fanfare and aplomb, the BJP candidate of no distinction just sorts aside the BJP candidate. The SP candidate of no distinction sorts aside the BJP candidate. He keeps Avdesh Prasad next to him and says, Ram has sent a message, and here's the person with that message. And he then shakes hands with Avdesh Prasad. Imagine the visual impact. And then he drives home the point that Ayodhya has rejected Modi. That is the last straw that breaks the camel's back of Modi's magic. Ayodhya, which is the linchpin of your political charisma, has rejected you summarily. And then he goes on to say that Modi sent his secret agents to find out whether it was opportune for him to contest from the Ayodhya constituency. And the report was, please don't go anywhere near it. The people will give you a blow on your face. People will defeat you. They will give you a resounding rejection. So, the Modi magic suffered a body blow through Rahul's speech. I don't know how the effect of this will be neutralized. And I could see the impact of that on Modi. I think more than anybody else, he realized that evil days has come upon him. And that speech, the speech by Rahul Gandhi, is a clear indication that something has seriously gone wrong. And all the political capital that Sri Narendra Modi has built up so assiduously over 10 years is suddenly in tatters. It's a sad thing, but it's a reality. And there is no point in denying the truth. Living in denial is madness. So realize that the Modi magic is such a fragile thing. It is foolish to count on the Modi magic too much for everything. So once the Modi magic is broken, the BJP will have a hard time. And I am amazed at the political acumen of Rahul Gandhi, who was vilified as Papu for 10, 15 years. Now the Papu is paying back, the payback time for Papu, if you like. That could be a title, the payback time for Papu, right? Now, the final point I want to include in this video, and from the next video onwards, I'll be analyzing the text of Rahul's speech, is this. Yesterday, as I sat listening to this young man, the realization that dawned on me is that running right through the entire presentation that he made is something that we might call poetic justice, or some kind of a symmetry, a parallel, a symmetry between the strategies used in 2013-14 and the strategy that Rahul Gandhi is using now. Now, let me explain. In 2013-14, in the run-up to the 2014 general elections, the main point of attack that Modi adopted was the attack on the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty. So his total strategy hinged on or centered on the need to and the great benefit in breaking the spell of the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty. After all, that was a very powerful influence on the awareness and the loyalty of the Indian voter. So Modi was very shrewd to understand that he needed to break that spell for him to create his own space on the political landscape of India. And he was dead right, and did it with such effectiveness as made me actually think that he is going to be the foremost leader of India till his last breath. That was the effectiveness with which he went about that work of destruction. Now the wheel has come full circle. Rahul Gandhi is doing the same thing to him. If in 2013-14, Modi was, reveling in his rare ability to break the magic of the Nehru-Gandhi, according to him, dynasty, here is Rahul Gandhi going about the very confident business of dispelling the magic of Modi on the basis of facts that cannot be denied. More of that we'll examine when the time comes. So, it was this Modi magic that was used extensively in the last 3 elections. Vote Modi, vote Modi, vote Modi. Every vote cast was for Modi. The local candidates did not matter. So the elections were won only on the strength of the Modi magic. And Rahul Gandhi is right in assuming that he has to break the spell of this magic if the India coalition is to make any progress. And he has gone about that task with such clinical precision and with absolute devastation. And it will be very hard, indeed very hard for Modi to recover from the rude jolt he has received. Now, therefore, let me conclude with a question. Suppose, and this is a hypothetical question, suppose today a nationwide poll, opinion poll, is conducted. Single question: who do you want to be your Prime Minister? Or who do you want as your Prime Minister? Narendra Modi or Rahul Gandhi? What do you think would be the outcome? Already, before all of this, the opinion poll conducted by CDS, Center for the Study of Developing Societies, based in Delhi, revealed that in the state of UP, 36% voters want Rahul Gandhi as the Prime Minister, whereas only 32% want Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of the country. Already, even before all of this, that was a state. So the Modi magic had already taken a beating. It was already tottering on its feet. And Rahul is giving it such a hard shake, a rude shake. And I'm inclined to feel that it was too much. So if today an opinion poll, a Gallup poll, is conducted on this question, who do you want as your Prime Minister? I make bold to say that Rahul Gandhi will have an advantage of not less than 10% over Narendra Modi. If Rahul Gandhi gets, say, 45% votes, Narendra Modi will get only 35% votes, so that makes it 80, and the other 20 may go to others, whoever they may be. That is the impact of a speech. I repeat, that's the impact of a speech. And so on the scale of that impact, that the worth, the merit, the rare power of Rahul's maiden speech as the leader of the opposition in the 18th Lok Sabha of the Indian Parliament needs to be assessed, will be assessed. It can't be helped. So that's how it is. Thank you, and we'll continue our analysis into the next couple of videos. I thank each one of you for the keen interest you are showing in understanding the major phenomena in our times from a position of intellectual integrity and non-partisan analysis of where our country is headed and what are the major intellectual, cultural, political forces at play in making the India of our dreams. Thank you. Jai Hind.